Ram Ram Hare. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikante Radhakante Namostute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chev Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jai Mudire. Bolo Sri Radhe Govinda Bhagwan ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki
Jai.
Jai. Hare Krishna Rina ji. Hare Krishna Riddhi.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. So Riddhi is my daughter. She's joining. She just came back from her internship in DC. So she's home for this week. So she's joining Srimad Bhagavatam. Welcome, Riddhi. Hare Krishna, Rinaji.
Hare Krishna, yeah. Sorry, I was mute. I was trying to open it and it just gave me some problems. So, Hare Krishna, how is everyone?
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna.
And of course, we have Tarun is in London this week. So, yeah, he'll be back Thursday or Friday, I think. Right, so we will start. हम लोग canto 5th पढ़ रहे हैं. As we know, there are 12 cantos. We are on 5th canto, 5th skand, and we are reading 23rd chapter of 5th skand. I think there are 27 or 28 adhyayas in this. So we are pretty much close to completing canto 5th, which is really nice. And last week हम लोग श्लोक 4th पढ़ रहे थे. And जैसा कि हम लोग पढ़ रहे हैं, last अध्याय में हम सूर्य देव के बारे में पढ़ रहे थे, right? And सूर्य देव का स्वरूप describe किया गया. तो सूर्य देव, as we know, we saw how the रथ is. So उनके रथ में कितने horses हैं? सूर्य देव के रथ में 7, right? So there are 7 horses in Surya Dev Rath. So if you see Surya Dev's picture, you will see 7 horses. And the Sarthi, I don't know if you remember the name of Sarthi. Surya Dev ka jo Sarthi hai Rath pe is Arun Dev. Yeah? So Arun Dev is the name of Sarthi. And like that, then we are reading this 23rd chapter, which is about the orbits of the planet. Yeah. So we have been reading how Shukra and Buddha and every graha is situated, right? So we saw that above Surya, we have Shukra. And do you remember how far is Shukra from, Shukra is Venus. How far is Venus from Surya? From Sun? Do you remember the distance? It's around 1.6 million miles. Yeah. And Shukra ke upar Buddha, Jupiter, which is around again 1.6 million miles from Venus. And then above Buddha, it's Mars, which is Mangal, 1.6 million miles above Jupiter, right? And then above, Mercury, and then above Mars, we have Brihspati, that's Jupiter, which is again 1.6 million miles above Mars. And then above Brihspati, we have Shani, Saturn, which is another 1.6 million miles above Brihspati, Jupiter. And then after these grahas, we have Sapta Rishis, right? So you see 7 Rishis, and that is 8.8 million miles above Saturn is Sapta Rishi. Yeah. And then above Sapta Rishi, it was Dhruv, North Pole star, Dhruv Tara, right? Dhruv Lok, which is around 10.2 million miles above Sapta Rishis, right? And that is also where Lord Indra and Agnidev and all those circle around and do prayers. to Lord Vishnu's stand there. Yeah, and Dhruv Maharaj, of course, also stays there. So that's how all the planets were described. And, then what is being mentioned now is about the Śiśumāra. So we saw that Śiśumāra is this whole Graha Mandal is the Śiśumāra Graha Mandal. Yeah, Śiśumāra Lok. And it is said that Śiśumāra is extension, manifestation of Lord Vishnu. Yeah, its shape is like a dolphin. Yeah, that's why it's called Śiśumāra. And I think what we are reading right now is description of Śiśumāra. So we'll start with Shlok 4. Start there, Anilji.
केचनैत ज्योतिर्नीकं शिशुमार संस्थानेन भगवतो वासुदेवस्य योगधारणाया मनुवर्णयन्ति. This great machine consisting of the stars and planets resembles the form of a Śiśumāra dolphin in the water. It is sometimes considered an incarnation of Krishna. Vasudev. Great yogis meditate upon Vasudev in this form because it is actually visible. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so it is called as Śiśumāra. Yeah. And what is the Śiśumāra? Mandal is consisting of all the stars and the planets. So if you see all the stars and planets, the whole shape, and that is called Śiśumāra, and it is considered as an incarnation of Lord Vasudeva. Bhagavato Vasudevasya. And it is also mentioned that great yogis, because they can see it, they meditate upon this Śiśumāra form of Lord Shri Krishna. Yeah. And as we can see, it's mentioned that transcendentalists, such as yogis, whose minds cannot accommodate the form of the Lord, prefer to visualize something very great, such as the Virat Purush. And if you remember, we read about the whole Virat Purush Swarup also, yeah, where you see all the 14 planets from head to toe of Bhagavan Vishnu. Therefore, some yogis contemplate this imaginary Śiśumāra to be swimming in the sky, the way a dolphin swims in water. They meditate upon it as the Virat Roop, the gigantic form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna. Yeah. So that's Śiśumāra. Read this. Rinaji.
यस्य पुच्छाग्रे अवाक्शिरसः कुण्डलीभूतदेहस्य ध्रुव उपकल्पितस्तस्य लाङ्गूले प्रजापतिरग्निरिन्द्रो धर्म इति पुच्छमूले धाता विधाता च कट्यां सप्तर्षयः तस्य दक्षिणावर्तकुण्डली भूतशरीरस्य यान्युदगयनानि दक्षिणपार्श्वे तु नक्षत्राण्य युप कल्पयन्ति दक्षिणायनानि तु सव्ये यथा शिशुमारस्य कुण्डलाभोगसन्निवेशस्य पार्श्वयोरुभयोरप्यवयवाः समसंख्या भवन्ति पृष्ठे त्वजवीथि आकाशगंगा च उदरतः. This form of the Śiśumāra has its head downward and its body coiled. On the end of its tail is the planet of Dhruva. On the body of its tail are the planets of the demigods Prajapati, Agni, Indra, and Dharma. And the base of its tail are the planets of the demigods Dhata and Vidhata. Where the hip might be on the Śiśumāra are the 7 saintly sages like Vashishta and Angira. The coiled body of the Śiśumāra chakra turns towards its right side, on which the 14 constellations from Abhijit to Punarvasu are located. On its left side are the 14 stars from Pushya to Uttara Sadha. Thus, its body is balanced because its sides are occupied by an equal number of stars. On the back of the Śiśumāra is the group of stars known as Ajavithi, and on its abdomen is the Ganges that flows in the sky, the Milky Way. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So as you can see, how Śiśumāra is described, right? The Śiśumāra Graha Mandal is facing downwards. On the tail is planet Dhruv, because as we saw, right, the highest planet is Dhruv in this Bhumandal. right? Above Saptarishi, 10.2 million miles above Saptarishi is through low. That's at the tail end. And then on the tail base, you have the other demigods like Agni Dev, Indra Dev, Dharma, which is Yamraj, right? At the base of the tails, again, that are demigods Dhata and Vidhata. And then we know that Saptarishi, which are 10.2 miles below Dhruvlok, and some of the Saptarishi, like Vasishta Rishi, Angira Muni, right? And then, like that, all the other planets. Yeah. And the most important part is on the abdomen is the Ganges that flows in the sky, the Milky Way. Yeah. That's where the Śiśumāra, like a dolphin shape on the abdomen, which is much below, which is much below the tail, right? Because on the head is downwards, on the abdomen is the Ganges that flows in the sky. The next shloka, Ajay.
पुनर्वसु पुष्यो दक्षिण वामयोः श्रोणयोराद्रश्वेशे च दक्षिण वामयोः पश्चिमयोः पादयोर्भिजुदुत्तराषाढैः दक्षिण वामयोर्नासिकयोर्थ संख्यज्ञ श्रवणापूर्वाषाणे दक्षिण वाम योर्निर्दिष्टा मूलं च दक्षिण वामयोः घटीनश्च नक्षत्राणि दक्षिणानि वामपार्श्ववङ्कृषु युञ्जीत तथैव मृगशीर्षार्धून्यां गयनानि दक्षिणपार्श्ववङ्कृषु प्रातिलोम्येन प्रयुज्येत शतभिजा ज्येष्ठे स्कन्धयोर्ध दक्षिण वम्योन्यसेत्. On the right and left side of where the loins might be on the Śiśumāra chakra are the stars named Punarvasu and Pushya. Adra and Asliya are on its right and left feet. Abhijit and Uttarsad are on the right and left nostrils. Shravan and Purvasad are at its right and left eyes, and Dhanisht and Mula are on its right and left ears. The 8 stars from Megha to Anuradha, which marks the southern course, are on the ribs of the left of its body, and 8th star from Mrigashira to Purvabhadra, which mark the northern course, are on the ribs on the right side. Satabhish and Jesht are on the right and left shoulders. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So it's amazing how everything has been described, right? उत्तरानावगस्तिधराहनो यमो मुखेषु चांगारकः शनेश्वर उपस्थे बृहस्पतिः कुकुदि वक्षादित्यो हृदये नारायणो मनसि चन्द्रो नाभ्यामुषणा स्तनयोरश्विनो बुद्धः प्राणापानयो राहुर्गले केतवः सर्वांगेषु रोमसु सर्वे तारागणाः. On the upper chin of the Śiśumāra is Agasti. On the lower chin, Yamraj. On its mouth, Mars. On its genitals, Saturn. On the back of its neck, Jupiter. On its chest, the Sun. And within the core of its heart, Narayan. Within its mind is the moon. On its navel, Venus. On its breast, the Ashwini Kumars. Within its life, air, which is known as Pranapan. is Mercury, on its neck is Rahu, all over its body are comets, and in its pores are the numerous stars. Yeah. So how the whole stars, all the planets are situated, right? Where is Jupiter? Where is Mars? Yeah, where is the Milky Way? Everything is given on the Śiśumāra shape, and Śiśumāra is extension of Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. Yeah. Riddhi, will you read?
Yeah, I can read. एतदुहैव भगवतो विष्णु सर्वदेवतामयं रूपम् आहारः सन्ध्यायां प्रयातो वाग्यतो निरीक्षमाण उपतिष्ठेत नमो ज्योतिर्लोकाय कालानयानिमिषं पतये महापुरुषाय विधिमहि. My dear king, the body of the Śiśumāra, as thus described, should be considered the external form of Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Morning, noon, and evening one should silently observe the form of the Lord as the Śiśumāra chakra and worship him with this mantra: O Lord, who have assumed the form of time, O resting place of all the planets moving in different orbits, O Master of all demigods, O Supreme Person, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you and meditate upon you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So my dear king, and of course, who is the king here?
Parikshit.
Parikshit Maharaj. Yeah. And of course, Sukdev Goswami ji is reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. Parikshit Maharaj has asked Sukdev Goswami ji to describe his Brahman, and to answer that question, Sukdev Goswami ji is describing everything, including now this Śiśumāra Graha Mandal. Yeah. So what is being mentioned is that this Śiśumāra, which consists of all these Graha Mandal, starting from Dhruva up to all the stars, is to be considered as the external form of Lord Vishnu, who is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And because of that, one should silently observe the form of the Lord as Śiśumāra chakra and worship him with this mantra. And what is the mantra? The Lord has assumed the form of time, right? Kal, it says here. Kalayana, yeah? Kalayanaya, right? That's Kal. Kal is time. Lord has assumed the form of Kal, and also is the resting place of all the planets moving in different orbits. Animisham, and then says Namo Jyotirlokaya, and he's also the Mahapurushaya. Yeah, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you and meditate upon you. Yeah. So that's the mantra for the Śiśumāra Śiśumāra Graha Mandal. And the mantra is Namo Jyotirlokaya Kaliyanaya Nimisham Patiye Mahapurusaya Bhi Dhim Hiti. Yeah. Yes. Anilji?
Yeah. Graharkshaktharamaya Madhidevikam Papapaham Mantra Kritam Trikalam Namasyataha Smarto Va Trikalam Nashyet Tatkal Jamashu Papam. The body of the Supreme Lord Vishnu, which forms the Śiśumāra chakra, is the resting place of all the demigods and all the stars and planets. One who chants this mantra to worship that Supreme Person 3 times a day, morning, noon, and evening, will surely be freed from all sinful reactions. If one simply offers his obeisances to this form or remembers this form 3 times a day, all his recent sinful activities will be destroyed. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, Sukdev Goswami is telling Parikshit Maharaj, yeah, that Śiśumāra chakra, extension of Lord Shri Vishnu, if anyone prays 3 times, Papa Paham Mantra Krita Trikalam, yeah, Trikalam, like all 3 kals, morning, noon, and evening, if somebody is worshipping, what will happen? Papa Paham, yani ki he will be freed from all sinful reactions. And even if who is remembering Smarato, Trikalam, yeah, all 3 times you are just remembering, Nashet Tatkala Mashu Papam, right? So recent sinful activities will be destroyed by doing prayers to Śiśumāra Chakra, which is actually consisting of all the grahas, yeah, all the graha mandal. And actually, interesting purport. So let's read this. Read it.
Summarizing the entire description of the planetary systems of the universe, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that one who is able to meditate upon this arrangement as the Virat Rupa or Vishwa Rupa, the external body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worship Him 3 times a day by meditation will always be free from all sinful reactions. Vishwanatha Chakravarti Thakur estimates that Dhruvalok, the pole star, is 3,800,000 yojanas above the sun. Above Dhruvlok by 10 million yojanas is Maharlok. Above Maharlok by 20 million yojanas is Janlok. Above Janlok by 80 million yojanas is Tapoloka. And above Tapolok by 120 million yojanas is Satyalok. Thus, the distance from the sun to Satyalok is 233,800,000 yojanas, or 1,870,400,000 miles. The Vaikuntha planets began 26,200,000 yojanas above Satyalok. Thus, the Vishnu Puran describes that the covering of the universe is 260 yojanas away from the sun. The distance from the sun to the earth is 100,000 yojanas, and below the earth by 70,000 yojanas are the 7 lower planetary systems called Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rosatal, and Patal. Below these lower planets by 30,000 yojanas, Sheshnag is lying on the Garbhodaka ocean. That ocean is 249,800,000 yojanas deep. Thus, the total diameter of the universe is approximately 500 million yojanas, or 4 billion miles. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So a lot of information is given in this paragraph, right? In terms of quantitative measurements. Yeah. So the first of all, the most important is the total diameter of this universe is how big? 500 million yojanas. 1 yojan is 8 miles. Yeah, 1 yojan is 8 miles. So the total diameter of the universe is 4 billion miles. Yeah, that's the one thing given. But now, what is the universe? How many planets are there in the universe?
8. 9.
14 planets, right? Remember? You have 14 planets. 8, 7 are below Earth, right? 7 are below Earth, and 6 are on above Earth. Yeah. So we have total 14 planets. So out of 14 planets, above Bhu, right? We read Om Bhur Bhuva Swaha. Yeah. So we got the Bhulok, Bhuvalok, Swalok. Yeah. Above those 3 loks, we saw all this Graha Mandal up to the Dhrulok, right? The Dhruv star. But then what is also given above Dhrulok, right? So up to Dhrulok, if you remember, right? We saw Sun, then Venus, Mercury, and Mars, and Jupiter, then Saturn, then Saptarishis, then Dhrulok, right? In all this Graha Mandal in the Śiśumāra shape. And above that, above the Dhrulok, it says, yeah, is above the Dhrulok is 10 million yojan. Yeah, 10 million will be 80 million miles is Maharlok. Yeah. So above 3 loks, Bhuva Swaha, then you have Maharlok. Yeah. Above Maharlok, 20 million yojan, yeah, or 160 million miles is Janlok. So we got Maharlok, we got Janlok, right? Then you have Taplok, and then you have Satyalok. Yeah. So which are the loks above Bhu? The Bhu is Earth, right? So Bhulok, Bhuva, Swaha, Jan, yeah, Tap, Mahar, then Janlok, then Taplok, and then the Satyalok. Yeah. Who resides in Satyalok? Satyalok is the highest lok in out of 14. The highest lok is
Brahmaji.
Brahmaji, yeah. Lord Brahma resides in Satyalok. That's why Satyalok is also called as Brahmalok. Yeah. Satyalok is also called as Brahmalok. And one of the satellite loks of Satyalok, where Lord Narad Muni also resides there. Yeah. So this is above Bhu. But what is also given is below Bhu, right? Below Earth, there are 7 planets. And what are the name of those 7 planets? Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, and Patal. We know the Patal is the bottommost planet, right? And every description is given, right? All the distances are given. And I think in the coming chapters, we'll also see like who resides in Atal, Patvital, Sutal, right? How those planets are as well. And of course, even the Vaikuntha planet is given, which is like 26 million, right? If you multiply it by 8, around like 200 million miles, 209 million miles above Satyalok. So from Brahmalok, 200 million miles above is Vaikuntha Lok. Yeah. And then Seshnag is lying on the Garbhodaka ocean, which is 30,000 fusions below the lower planets, below Patal. Okay, with total, and I think all those, if you total up, it will probably total up to 4 billion miles. Yeah. So see how quantitatively everything has been described. So I think we should remember those names of the 14 planets. Yeah. Below Bhu, we got Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, and Patal. Above Bhu, we have Bhuva, Swaha. Then we have got Janlok, Taplok, Maharlok. So we have Maharlok, Janlok, Taplok, and Satyalok. Yeah. So this also ends the Bhaktivedanta purpose of the 5th canto, 23rd chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam entitled the Śiśumāra Planetary Systems. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Right, and as you can see, every chapter, right, there is a devotional service of Lord Vishnu, right? So here we also saw the mantra which can be done to the Śiśumāra shape, the external shape of Lord Vishnu, this extension, which is the Śiśumāra planetary system. So I think the next one we will be reading chapter 24, which is the subterranean heavenly planets. Okay, so let's continue reading this. Ajay?
Adhastasturvituryorjanayute स्वभानुर्नक्षत्र वच्चरितेत्येके यो असावमरत्वं गृहत्वं चालभत भगवतनुकंपया स्वयं सुरापसदः संहिकेयो आत्रिदहस्य तात्मजन्म कर्माणि चोपरिष्ठाश्च Sri Sukdev Goswami said, my dear king, some historians, the speakers of Puranas, says that 10,000 yojans, 80,000 miles below the sun is the planet known as Rahu, which moves like one of the stars. The presiding deity of the planet, who is the son of Simihika, is the most abominable of all asuras, but though he is completely unfit to assume the position of demigod or planetary deity, He has achieved the position by grace of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Later I shall speak further about him. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Sukadeva Goswami is now describing 80,000 miles below the sun is the planet Rahu, right? Above the sun we saw Jupiter and Mercury and Venus and everyone. And below sun is 80,000 miles is Rahu. Rinaji?
यदस्तरणे मण्डलं प्रतपतस्तद्विस्तरतो योजनायुतमाचक्षते 12,000 सोमस्य 13,000 राहोर्य पर्वणि तदव्यवधानकृद्वैरानुबन्धः सूर्यचन्द्रमा सावभिधावति. The sun globe, which is a source of heat, extends for 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles. The moon extends for 20,000 yojanas, 160,000 miles, and Rahu extends for 30,000 yojanas, 240,000 miles. Formerly, when nectar was being distributed, Rahu tried to create dissension between the sun and moon by interposing himself between them. Rahu is inimical towards both the sun and the moon, and therefore he always tries to cover the sunshine and moonshine on the dark moon day and full moon night. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, and it is mentioned that that's when the Grahan happens, right? Riddhi?
तन्निशम्योभयत्रपि भगवते रक्षणाय प्रयुक्तं सुदर्शनं नाम भागवतं दयितम् अस्त्रं तत्तेजसा दुर्विषहं मुह परिवर्तमानम् अव्यवस्थितो मुहूर्तम् उद्विजमानस् चकितहृदय आराध एव निवर्तते तत् उपारगम iti vadanti lokah. After hearing from the sun and moon demigods about Rahu's attack, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, engages his disc, known as the Sudarshan Chakra, to protect them. The Sudarshan Chakra is the Lord's most beloved devotee and is favored by the Lord. The intense heat of its effulgence, meant for killing non-Vaishnavas, is unbearable to Rahu, and he therefore flees in fear of it. During the time Rahu disturbs the sun or moon, there occurs what people commonly know as an eclipse. Hare Krishna.
ततोऽधस्तात् सिद्धचारणविद्याधराणां सद्नानि तावन्मात्र एव. Below Rahu by 10,000 yojans, 80,000 miles, are the planets known as Siddhalok, Charanalok, and Vidyadharlok. It is said that the residents of Siddhalok, being naturally endowed with the powers of yogis, can go from one planet to another by their natural mystic powers without using airplanes or similar machines, right? So also we have read about like how people from Siddhalok and Vidyadhalok were traveling at different times, right? In some of the shloks we have got that. So that's like 80,000 miles below the Rahu planet. Anilji?
ततोदस्ताद्यक्षरक्षः पिशाच प्रेत भूतगणानां विहाराजी रमन्तरिक्षं यावद्वायुः प्रवाति यावन्मेघा उपलभ्यन्ते. Beneath Vidyadharlok, Charanlok and Siddhalok in the sky called Antariksh are the places of enjoyment for the yakshas, rakshasas, pisachas, ghosts, and so on. Antariksh extends so far as the wind blows and the clouds float in the sky. Above this, there is no more air. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, so it's a place for everyone, basically. Rinaji?
ततो अधस्थाक्ष तयो जनान्तर इयं पृथिवी यावद्धं सभासस्येन सुपर्णादयः पतत्रिप्रवरा उत्पतन्तीति. Below the abodes of the Yakshas and Rakshasas by a distance of 100 yojanas, 800 miles, is the planet Earth. Its upper limits extend as high as swans, hawks, eagles, and similar large birds can fly. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah? So that's where the planet Earth is. Yeah, that's where we all reside. Ajay?
उपवर्णितं भूमे यथा सन्निवेशावस्थान नमवने रप्यस्थात् सप्तभुविवरा एकैकशो योजनायुतान्तरेण राणायं विस्तारेणोपक्लिप्ता अतलं वितलं सुतलं तलातलं महातलं रसातलं पातालमिति. My dear king, beneath this earth are 7 other planets known as Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Talatala, Mahatala, Rastala, and Patal. I have already explained the situation of the planetary system of the earth. The width and the length of the 7 lower planetary systems are calculated to be exactly the same as those of earth. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah. So if you remember the name of planets below Earth, yeah, is Atal, Vital, Sutal, Talatal, Mahatal, Rasatal, and Patal. Yeah, Patal is the bottommost. Yeah. So one more slow. Will you read?
Yeah. एतसु हि बिलस्वर्गेषु स्वर्गाद् अपि अधिककाम भोगैश्वर्यानन्द भूतिविभूतिभिः सुसुमृद भवनोद्यानकृद विहारेषु दैत्य दानव काद्रैवेय नित्य प्रमुदिनानुरुक्त पालत्रापत्य बन्धु सुहृद अनुचार गृहपतय ईश्वराद अपि अप्रतिहत काममाय विनोद निवसन्ति. In these 7 planetary systems, which are also known as the subterranean heavens, Bilasvarg, there are very beautiful houses, gardens, and places of sense enjoyment, which are even more opulent than those in the higher planets, because the demons have a very high standard of sensual pleasure, wealth, and influence. Most of the residents of these planets, who are known as Daityas, Danavas, and Nagas, live as householders. Their wives, children, friends, and society are all fully engaged in illusory material happiness. The sense enjoyment of demigods is sometimes disturbed, but the residents of these planets enjoy life without disturbances. Thus they are understood to be very attached to illusory happiness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Just read this purport. Rinaji?
According to the statements of Prahlad Maharaj, material enjoyment is Maya Sukh, illusory enjoyment. A Vaishnava is full of anxieties for the deliverance of all living entities from such false enjoyment. Prahlad Maharaj says, Maya Sukhaya Bharam Udvahato Vimudhan. These fools, Vimudhas, are engaged in material happiness, which is surely temporary. Whether in the heavenly planets, the lower planets, or the earthly planets, people are engrossed in temporary material happiness, forgetting that in due course of time they have to change their bodies according to the material laws and suffer the repetition of birth, death, old age, and disease. Not caring what will happen in the next birth, gross materialists are simply busy enjoying during the present short span of life. A Vaishnava is always anxious to give all such bewildered materialists the real happiness of spiritual bliss. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, and the real happiness of spiritual bliss is by doing the devotional service, right? Chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. And like the 9 ways of doing bhakti, yeah, Shmaranam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Shmaranam, Archanam, right? So that's the spiritual bliss, yeah. So I think we are going to pause here, we're close to time, and we'll keep reading. I think this adhyaya is about describing those lower planets more. So we'll continue reading that. And since you were reading about the Sishu Śiśumāra Greh Mandal, right? We are going to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam shlokas on the Śiśumāra planetary system. We are going to hear about the verses on the Śiśumāra planetary system. It's around 7 minutes, 6 minutes. So we'll hear that. See tomorrow. Yeah.
Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, The Creative Impetus, Chapter 23, The Śiśumāra Planetary Systems. श्रीशुक उवाच अत तस्मात् परतस्त्रयोदशलक्षयोजनान्तरतो यत्तद् विष्णो परमं पदम् अभिवदन्ति यत्र महाभागवतो ध्रुव औत्तानपादिरग्निनेन्द्रेण प्रजापतिना कश्यपेन धर्मेण च समकालयुग्मी स बहुमानं दक्षिणत क्रियमाण इदानीम् अपि कल्पजीविनाम् आजीव्य उपास्ते तस्येहानुभाव उपवर्णितः स हि सर्वेषां ज्योतिर्गणानां ग्रहनक्षत्रादीनाम् अनिमिषेणाव्यक्तरंहसा भगवता कालेन भ्राम्यमाणानां स्थाणुरिवावष्टम्ब ईश्वरेण विहितशश्वत् अवभासते यथा मेढिस्तम्भ आक्रमण पशव संयोजितास्त्रिभिः सवनैर्यतास्थानं मण्डलानि चरन्त्येवम् भगणाग्रहादय एतस्मिन् अन्तर्बहिर्योगेन कालचक्र आयोजिता ध्रुवम् एवावलम्ब्य वायुनोदीर्यमाणा आकल्पान्तं परिचङ्क्रमन्ति नभसि यथा मेघा श्येनादयो वायुवशा कर्मसारतय परिवर्तन्ते एवं ज्योतिर्घना प्रकृतिपुरुषसंयोगानुगृहीता कर्म निर्मितगतयो भुवि न पतन्ति केचनैतज्ज्योतिरनीकं शिशुमार संस्थानेन भगवतो वासुदेवस्य योगधारणायाम् अनुवर्णयन्ति यस्य पुच्चाग्रे वाक्षीरसकुण्डलीभूतदेहस्य ध्रुव उपकल्पितस्तस्य लाङ्गूले प्रजापतिरग्निरिन्द्रो धर्म इति पुच्छमूले धाता विधाता च कट्यां सप्तर्षयः तस्य दक्षिणावर्तकुण्डलीभूतशरीरस्य यान्युदगयनानि दक्षिणपार्श्वे तु नक्षत्रान् युपकल्पयन्ति दक्षिणायनानि तु सव्ये यथा शिशुमारस्य कुण्डलाभोगसन्निवेशस्य पार्श्वयोरुभयोरप्यवयवा समसंख्या भवन्ति पृष्ट्वेत्वजवीति आकाशगङ्गाचोदरतः पुनर्वसुपुष्यौ दक्षिणवामयो श्रोण्योर् आर्द्राश्लेषे च दक्षिणवामयो पश्चिमयो पादयोरभिजित् उत्तराषाढे दक्षिणवामयोर् नासिकयोर्यथासंख्यं श्रवणपूर्वाषाढे दक्षिणवामयोर् लोचनयोर्धनिष्ठामूलं च दक्षिणवामयो कर्णयोर्मगाधीन्यष्टनक्षत्राणि दक्षिणायनानि वामपार्श्ववन्कृषु युञ्जीत तथैव मृगशीर्षादीन् युधगयनानि दक्षिणपार्श्व वन्कृषु प्रातिलोम्येन प्रयुञ्जीतः शतभिषा ज्येष्ठे स्कन्धयोर्दक्षिणवामयोर्न्यसेत् उत्तराहनावगस्तिरधराहनौ यमो मुखेषु छान्गारकषणैश्चर उपस्थे बृहस्पति ककुदी वक्षस्यादित्यो हृदये नारायणो मनसि चन्द्रो नाभ्याम् उशनास्तनयोर् अश्विनौ बुधप्राणापानयो राहुर्गले खेतवः सर्वाङ्गेषु रोमसु सर्वे तारागणाः एतदुहैव भगवतो विष्णो सर्वदेवतामयं रूपम् अहरः सन्ध्यायां प्रयतो भाग्यतो निरीक्षमाण उपदिष्टेत नमो ज्योतिर्लोकाय कालायनाय निमिषाम् पतये महापुरुषाय विधीमहीति ग्रहर्क्षतारामयम् आदिदैविकम् पापापहं मन्त्रकृतां त्रिकालम् नमस्य तस्मरतो वा त्रिकालम् नश्येत तत्कालजम् आशु पापम् हरि ओम् तत्सत्।
Right, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
You see how the whole planetary system is described, right? And the Śiśumāra is what is being called Śiśumāra Graha Mandal, which is a resting place for all the stars, planets, devatas, and everyone else with quantitative measurements. Very nice. So, right, so have a good night, and I will see you tomorrow again at 10 p.m.
Okay.
PST.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna.